Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels collector video. Today we are looking at the Dodge Charger Drift, which is a brand new car for the 2023 P case. We actually did see this car in green in the C case of this year as well. However, I actually do think this white one looks way better on the car. Definitely looks more like a police car. It looks fantastic to me. That's kind of a little sneak peek on what I think of this car. But anyways, this car features in the 2023 Hot Wheels Metro set, and it's car number 2 out of 10 in that set. This car is also car number 54 out of 250 for 2023. I will quickly mention where I actually found this car then. So I found this car literally only a few weeks ago at a local Smyth's Toy Superstore at the price of £1.69. I was super happy to find it at such a low price for such a new model. The P case is just really hitting now. The only stores in the UK that do actually have it is Smyth's and Asda stores at the moment. So I did actually pick it up very early on, and it was for a very good price in my opinion as well. The lowest price you will get here in the UK is £1.50, and this was not that far off, being at £1.69. Anyways, let me give you some facts about the real life car. So this car had a 6.1 litre V8 Hemi engine, which produced 425 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, converting to 569 newton meters of torque. This car also had a 0-60 in just 4.8 seconds, very impressive considering this car was a rear-wheel drive car, and we know that rear-wheel drive cars don't grip as well as things like all-wheel drive cars. This car also had a top speed of 174 miles per hour, that converts to 280 kilometers per hour. The facts that I've just given you are from the top spec SRT8 model, and that SRT8 model in 2008 had a starting price of $40,100. That converts to £32,600, and now this car has an approximate value in America of $18,000, and that converts to £14,700. Anyways, that is it for the facts about this car. Now let's move on to the showcase of the actual Hot Wheels model. Alright, so kicking off this showcase then, we'll first of all take a look at the side of this car. Now we'll first of all mention the wheel choice on this thing. So this car is rolling on the Steely 8-slot wheels, which first debuted in 2017. These wheels have been painted in black with a nice chrome red lip around them. It's quite nice to see these Steelies on this car because this car already looks like a police car, but I know the police cars in America actually do roll on Steely wheels, at least in most cases. So that is quite nice to see on this car. I'm not a big fan of these wheels usually, but they kind of do complement this car, although maybe some other wheel choice would have been nicer to look at, but for realism purposes it's actually quite realistic to police cars in America. Now for the colour of this car then, the entire body of this car is painted in a glossy white paint. It is not metallic. Now onto the tamper work on the side of this thing, it's quite plentiful. So first of all we do have the Dodge logo, which has been done in an interesting blue tamper work. But this blue tamper work has this kind of metal flake in it. I've never ever seen a Hot Wheels tamper with metal flake in the paint, but this blue tamper does have it, and you can kind of see it a bit better on the top of the car, but we will get into that in just a second. We also do have this nice black striping which runs pretty much the entire way along the side of the car. We also do have the Hot Wheels logo, which has been done in blue and yellow. Very interesting colours on that logo. Usually we see the Hot Wheels logo in things like orange and black and white, but none of those colours feature on this one. Instead, it's these funky colours which actually do look kind of funky and cool. Next up we do have the track writing, which has been done in black tempo, and we also do have the pursuit writing, which has been done in that metallic blue tempo. Very interesting look there, but it does look fantastic, that blue tamper work. We also do have the racing number 55 featuring in blue tamper work again on the front fender area of this car. Now onto the actual metal casting itself then. So there are a few details here. First of all, we do see the door handles featuring there. We also do not have any wing mirrors on this car, unfortunately. I'll also mention that the front windows on this car are actually wound down. And hopefully you can see on the front bumper section of this car, there are actually canards in the metal casting as well. Super cool detail there. I'm quite a big fan of that. Anyways, that is it for the side of this thing. Now let's move on to the front of this car. Alright, so taking a look at the front of this car then, we do not see any tamper work here unfortunately. However, we do see quite a decent amount of detail in the metal casting. So first of all, you can see the headlights are actually modelled in the casting. You could easily add your own details there using Sharpie or acrylic paint. You can also see the front grille of this car also features in the casting, as well as this large police ram bar, which you can obviously see in the card art there a little bit better. Obviously in the card art it is painted black, but on this car it is just in white. That is unfortunate, but it's something you come to expect with mainlines, and if you want the full level of detail like what the card art looks like, you do have to pay the premium price and get the premium model. But I don't actually think they've ever done this car in premium. I know quite a lot of people will be happy about that, but I think this would be quite a funky one for premium, particularly like Boulevard. I think it would suit Boulevard quite well, since the Boulevard theme is kind of like, if Hot Wheels was real, what cars would be there kind of deal. We also do have the lower fog lights featuring in the metal casting of this car, as well as the lower vent of this car also featuring in the metal casting. I will also mention that the front splitter of this car is created through the black base plastic. Anyways, that's really it for the front of this thing. Now let's move on to the next side of the car. Alright, so taking a look at the next side of this car then, it is practically the exact same as the previous side, so I'm not going to bore you on this side. The only thing that is actually different is the fuel filler cap does feature in the metal casting on this side of the car. Obviously you can pause the video here and have a look for yourself if you're looking for something specific, but if not, let's move straight onto the rear of this car. Alright, so taking a look at the rear of this car then, we do not see any tamper work here as well, unfortunately. However, we do have a decent amount of detail in the metal casting. So first of all, you can see the rear lights do feature in the metal casting there and are modelled quite nicely. Again, you could easily add your own details using Sharpie or acrylic paint. We also do have the third brake light featuring the metal casting as well. We also do have the trunk release button featuring in the metal casting as well as the license plate holder also featuring in the metal casting. I will also mention that the exhaust tips of this car are created through the black base plastic, and I will also mention that there is a gigantic spoiler also featuring in the metal casting there, painted in the same white as the rest of the body of this car. Anyways, let's move straight on to the top of this thing. Alright, so taking a look at the top of this car then, we do see quite a decent amount of detail here in terms of plastic usage, tamper work, and also the actual metal casting itself. So first of all, you can see this spoiler features in the metal casting. I've already mentioned this here, but you can obviously see it a little bit better from the top view. You can see a lot more detail which does feature on the spoiler. It's quite large actually, as you will have seen when we were looking at the side of the car. Very tall spoiler there. You can also see the window plastic does have a blue tint, quite an interesting colour to choose, but it actually does match with the tamper work. There's a lot of blue here, and those windows are actually tinted blue to make the light bar on the roof of this car look a lot more realistic and almost look like a police car, which kind of seems to be the vibe they're going with this recolour of this thing. The colours are very police vibey, to me at least. Alright, and for the rest of the roof of this thing, we do have a bit of tamper work here. So first of all, we do have this black striping, which is very similar to the striping we do see on the side of this thing. It definitely does complement the design of this casting very well. We also do have the racing number 55 returning on the top of this thing as well, painted in that very interesting metallic blue tamper work. Very cool to see that there. It does look very nice indeed. I will quickly mention that this casting does not feature any windshield wipers, unfortunately. It is a small detail which is missing, however it's a detail nonetheless. It definitely would have been nice to have seen those featuring on this car. And finally, on the hood of this thing, we do see some more tamper work. A lot of this metallic blue tamper, you can see it in a bit more detail here. It does look fantastic. I can't wait to see what cars actually get this metallic tamper work treatment next. It looks great, and a lot of cars would actually suit it. It would definitely complement a lot of cars' designs, especially cars that already have a metallic colour as their base paint. We also do have the Pursuit writing returning, but this time done in black tamper work on the side. It was done in this metallic blue, so kind of a nice colour swap there. And we have that returning black striping which features on the side of the car as well, returning to the hood of this thing. The final bit of detail which I haven't mentioned yet is you can see this nice hood intake there, which is a nice vent, and it actually does look very realistic in my opinion. It's quite a large vent there, and it does look like it's got a hole within it. It doesn't, but it just goes quite deep backwards, which is cool. I'll show you that now. There you can see what I meant by it goes quite deep backwards. It looks sort of like it has a hole. That's how far back the metal goes inside of the vent, but it doesn't actually go anywhere. There's no shut off or hole within that. Oh, and one final thing which I almost forgot to add. I haven't added this during editing because I realised that I missed it out. This car does have black interior plastic. Does look very nice, and it does actually match the black which features across the car in terms of tamper work. Anyways, that is it for the top of this thing, and that is also it for my showcase of this car. So now let's move on to my final thoughts and review on this thing. Alright, so now it's time for my final thoughts and review on this car. A lot of people will dislike this car, and that's totally fine. However, I will say, give this car a chance. The casting's a bit funky. It's a drift car, but it's also a police car at the same time. Super interesting concept there, and that will put a lot of people off. I did not like the green version of this car at all, but when I saw this white one on the unboxing, I wasn't very keen on it either. I was going to pass it up straight away. I saw it in stores and I thought, this is quite cool actually. So please do give it a chance. If you see it in stores and you like it, grab it, because honestly, I think it's better than you think. It is quite a cool and funky car that will be cool for your collection. And there you go, I really do like this thing. I really like the colour choice on it, the tamper work is fantastic. It is unfortunate it does not have any wing mirrors or any windshield wipers. That will unfortunately affect my end score, but it is better than I thought, this car. The only thing which I'm really not too keen on, and another thing which I'm not super duper keen on is the wheels. I'm not a big fan of the red chrome lip on them. I think if they'd just been done as black steelies, they would have looked a bit better, because the red just looks a bit random on this car, to me at least. There's no other red featuring anywhere else on the car, but yeah, it's a bit random of a colour. This casting's a bit random though, so it does kind of keep that random theme going. But there you go, that's really it for my thoughts on this thing. So now that does lead me to my score out of 10 for this thing. One of this car out of 10, it's going to be receiving a pretty solid and respectable for what it is. 8 out of 10, really funky car. I'm a big fan of it for what it is. Definitely a cool one to add to your collection. It's definitely a unique casting. Anyways, that is it for this video. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and you can also press that notification bell so do not miss new uploads. Remember, you can also share this video with any friends, family, and any groups who may be interested. But remember, don't feel pressured if you don't feel like you have anybody who may be interested. You watching this video all the way to the end means so much to me, and I really do thank you for making it all the way up until this point. But anyways, that is it for this video. So I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone.